Good day everyone. Today we will be discussing principles of sustainable tourism building design in Chocolate Hills, Bohol.
Mabuhay! So today I will be talking about sustainable building design. This approach to construction is very important because it focuses on reducing negative environmental while promoting efficiency and well-being. By applying sustainable design, buildings are able to save energy and water, which are resources that we often take for granted but are essential for life. It also helps create healthier spaces for people, ensuring that the environments where we live, study, and work are safe and comfortable. Another important point is long-term cost efficiency. While sustainable buildings may require careful planning and sometimes higher initial investment, they eventually reduce operating costs and provide financially savings in the future. Most importantly, sustainable building design helps protect natural resources for future generations. By making smart choices today, we ensure that the next generation can also benefit from a safe, healthy, and balanced environment. Sustainable design is very important because it focuses on creating structures that are both environmentally friendly and people-centered. One of its main goals is reduce negative environmental impacts by using eco-friendly materials and practices. It also helps us save energy and water, which are essentials resources for our daily lives. At the same time, it promotes healthier spaces for people, making buildings more comfortable and safer to live or work in. Another benefit of sustainable design is long-term cost efficiency. While the initial investment may be higher, the saving in energy, water, and maintenance make it more affordable in the long run. Most importantly, it protects natural resources for future generation, ensuring that we can meet our needs today without harming the ability of future generation to meet theirs. Overall, the sustainable building design is not just a trend but a responsibility. It helps the environment, saves resources, improves human well-being, and support a more sustainable future.
Nowadays, when we talk about sustainable building design, it does not only mean constructing houses or tall buildings. It simply means constructing responsibly in a way that protects the environment and improves people's lives. Mabuhay! I am Generous K. Fermin, and today I'll be discussing the principles of sustainable design. Sustainable designs has 6 principles that focus on reducing environmental impact and improving quality of life through first, energy efficiency, meaning reducing energy use through natural lighting and proper insulation and renewable sources like solar power. Second is water efficiency, by conserving water by using rainwater collection, recycling system, and efficient plumbing. Third is the use of sustainable materials, meaning choosing an eco-friendly resources such as bamboo, recycled wood, or hollow blocks made from recycled materials. Fourth is the site selection and planning. It means constructing in areas that do not harm the environment. For example, is building resorts or facilities that blend with nature instead of destroying it. Fifth is indoors environmental quality that ensures healthy spaces. A good example is designing buildings with large windows for natural light and proper ventilation. And sixth, waste reduction. It minimizes waste by segregating construction, scraps, or using old materials in new products. In conclusion, sustainable building design is about constructing with care, using energy and water wisely, protecting nature resources, and creating healthier spaces for people and the planet. And 6, waste reduction. It minimizes waste by segregating construction, scraps, or using old materials in new products. In conclusion, sustainable building design is about constructing with care, using energy and water wisely, protecting nature resources, and creating healthier spaces for people and the planet.
Mabuhay! Today, I will be introducing the Chocolate Hills of Bohol, one of the Philippines' most iconic natural wonders. These are over 1,200 conical limestone hills that turn brown during the dry season. Giving them their name, they have become a popular destination not only for local tourists, but also visitors from around the world. However, with this popularity comes a challenge. The increasing number of tourists poses as threats to the ecological balance, cultural value, and long-term sustainability of the Chocolate Hills. If not managed properly, the very beauty that attracts people here may slowly be damaged. That is why it is important to explore the sustainable tourism strategies. In this study, we will look at ways to protect the Chocolate Hills by focusing on sustainability principles such as responsible tourism and eco-friendly building design. In short, the Chocolate Hills are not also or only a treasure of nature, but also a reminder of our responsibility to preserve and to protect our environment for future generations.
The Chocolate Hills in Bohol is one of the most visited tourist attractions here in the Philippines. That is why there's a lot of challenges that the Chocolate Hills are facing. First is the overcrowding. One of the most famous tourist attractions in Bohol, the Chocolate Hills, receive thousands of visitors each year. When visitor numbers exceed the site's carrying capacity, it leads to congestion in view decks, trails, and nearby facility. Overcrowding can reduce the quality of the tourist experience and put stress on the natural landscape. Second of the challenges that the Chocolate Hills are facing is waste management. An increase in tourism can also lead to more wastes, such as plastic bottles, food wrappers, and other litter. If not properly managed, this waste can pollute the environment, harm wildlife, and damage the pristine image of the Chocolate Hills. Inefficient waste disposal systems can also affect the local community's health and cleanliness. The next challenge is environmental stress. Tourist activities such as trekking, construction of viewing facilities, and vehicle emissions can cause soil erosion, vegetation loss, and air quality issues. Continuous exposure to these stresses can threaten the natural beauty and ecological balance of the hills. The next challenge is the climate vulnerability. The Chocolate Hills are susceptible to climate change impacts, such as stronger typhoons, extreme rainfall, and rising temperatures. These events can lead to landslides, erosion, and degradation of the hill's unique formations, affecting both the ecosystem and tourism. Last but not the least is the cultural value. The Chocolate Hills are not only a natural wonder, but also a cultural treasure tied to myths, legends, and the identity of Boholanos. Commercialization and excessive tourism development may overshadow their cultural significance, reducing them to a mere attraction rather than a heritage site to be respected and preserved.
Here we see the strategies for infrastructure development in Chocolate Hills. First, we have eco-friendly walkways. These are elevated bamboo paths inspired by Arashiyama Bamboo Grove in Japan, which reduce ground damage and provide a natural look. Next, sustainable viewing decks. Using bamboo and coconut wood instead of concrete, this minimizes the carbon footprint of construction. Lastly, green landscaping, which means planting native species following Costa Rica's ecotourism practices. This helps preserve biodiversity and prevents the spread of invasive plants. Now let's move on to waste and water management strategies. First is zero plastic zone, similar to Bhutan's bans on single-use plastics to minimize plastic pollution. Second is waste segregation, where color-coded bins are provided, just like in Singapore Garden by the Bay, to promote proper disposal and recycling. Lastly, water-saving facilities, such as rainwater harvesting systems and eco-restroom, modeled after Kenya's eco lodges, help conserve water while supporting sustainability. Lastly, water-saving facilities such as rainwater harvesting systems and eco-restroom, modeled after eco lodges, help conserve water while supporting sustainability.
This slide shows how we can preserve the culture and history of Chocolate Hills. First, we have educational signage. These are information boards like the ones in Uluru, Australia to give tourists background about the place. Second, storytelling tours. Local can serve as guides to share stories, legends, and traditions connected to the Chocolate Hills. This way, tourists learn directly from the community. And third, an interactive museum. This can highlight both the geology of the hills and the culture of Bohol in a fun and engaging way. Overall, these strategies help protect the cultural identity of Chocolate Hills while also giving tourists a meaningful learning experience. Energy efficiency is also a key strategy. First, we can build solar power viewing decks inspired by Nepal's Annapurna Eco Lodges. This makes us of renewable energy instead of electricity from fossil fuels. Second, motion sensor LED lighting reduces unnecessary energy use while still ensuring visitor safety. This not only cuts costs but also lower carbon emissions.
Good day everyone! So today we will be talking about disaster preparedness, community involvement and visitor management, responsible tourism education. So first, we have disaster preparedness. Tourism destinations are often vulnerable to natural hazards such as typhoons, earthquake, and floods. Having emergency response plans, early warning systems, and trained personnel ensure both safety of locals and visitors. Preparedness is not just about response, it is about building resilience. Now, on the second part, we have the community involvement and visitor management. Tourism thrives when local communities actively participate by empowering residents to take part in decision making and by implementing visitor management strategies, such as setting carrying capacities, regulating activities, and promoting respect for local culture. We can balance economic growth with environmental and social well-being. And lastly, on our third slide, we have responsible tourism education. Both tourists and local must be aware for their roles in protecting destinations through seminars, campaigns, and experimental learning. Travelers are encouraged to respect nature, culture, and people, while communities learn how to sustain tourism without compromising their heritage and environment.
The Chocolate Hills in Bohol are a stunning natural wonder, but how can we preserve their beauty while welcoming tourists globally? The answer is sustainable tourism, balancing nature, culture, and community. Hello mabuhay! My name is Jamie Tanawan, and today we will explore the principles of sustainable building design applied to the world-famous Chocolate Hills. Let us discover how the use of local materials keeps construction eco-friendly, and how eco-friendly transportation reduces pollution, and how climate-resilient designs protect us from natural disasters. We'll also see the beauty of green integration through reforestation, the importance of water management in conserving resources, and how sustainable tourism programs allow visitors to enjoy while giving back to nature. And of course, we cannot forget the historic preservation to protect the integrity of Chocolate Hills. And finally, erosion control and soil protection to ensure these unique landscapes remain for future generations. Our first focus is on sustainable building design. This principle ensures that new structures blend with the environment rather than harm it. By using bamboo, coconut wood, and volcanic stones, builders reduce both costs and carbon emissions. Videos 2 2018 notes that in Bali, Indonesia, eco-resorts thrive using bamboo and coconut wood, making construction both sustainable and culturally authentic. The use of bamboo, coconut wood, and volcanic stones reduces construction costs, lowers carbon emissions, and keeps buildings aligned with Bohol's cultural identity. Second principle is eco-transport options. Transportation plays a big role in sustainability, promoting bicycles and electric shuttles, reducing pollution and congestion. Inspired by Amsterdam's cycling model, Potter and Buller 2012 highlight how Copenhagen successfully integrates cycling lanes and electric transport to minimize emissions, as also emphasized by Gosling 2017. Encouraging bicycles and electric shuttles decreases air pollution and traffic, ensuring that visitors enjoy the site without harming the environment. The Philippines is no stranger to typhoons. Elevated decks and flood-resistant structures make tourist facilities more durable. Sharply 2020 cites the Maldives as an example where overwater villas built on stilts help communities adapt to rising sea levels. Elevated decks and flood-resistant structures protect facilities from frequent typhoons, making tourism in Chocolate Hills more sustainable and long-term. Fourth is green integration. Reforesting with native trees enhances biodiversity and restores balance. Hani 2008 explains how Costa Rica's ecotourism sector promotes large-scale reforestation, boosting both biodiversity and tourism revenues. Reforesting with native trees restores biodiversity and improves air quality and keeps the natural balance of Chocolate Hills ecosystem. Fifth principle is water management. Rainwater harvesting helps conserve fresh water for irrigation and sanitation. Agarwal and Nareen 1997 document how heritage hotels in Rajasthan, India revived traditional rainwater harvesting systems to save water in arid regions. Sustainable tourism programs. Beyond buildings, sustainable tourism also provides people-centered programs that educate visitors and encourage participation. For guided tours, this not only control visitor movement but also provide cultural education. It helps management visitor flow, prevent overcrowding, and ensure tourists gain cultural knowledge while protecting sensitive areas. Zhu et al. 2015 described how Machu Picchu enforces guided tours to balance heritage preservation with meaningful tourist learning. For volunteer programs, tourism can also give back to nature. Higam and Locke 2007 highlight New Zealand's eco-volunteer programs where tourists engage in conservation projects such as protecting the endangered kiwi bird. Similarly in Bohol, visitors could join tree planting and cleanup drives. Next principle is historic preservation. Preserving natural heritage at Chocolate Hills sustainable design should protect the natural landscape while ensuring visitor safety. UNESCO 2012 showcases Borobudur Temple in Indonesia as a model, where wooden walkways and restricted zones protect ancient carvings while allowing controlled access. Lastly, one of the greatest threats to the Chocolate Hills is soil erosion. Preventing this ensures the hills maintain their unique slopes and beauty. Erosion control techniques. Terracing, planting, ground cover, vegetation, and discrete staining walls help stabilize slopes. Salazar 2012 emphasizes that Machu Picchu preserves its terraces as natural erosion control against rainfall and tourist traffic. Soil protection practices. Visitor movement should also be managed carefully. Zhang and White 2016 discussed how the Great Wall of China limits foot traffic in fragile areas and constructs eco-friendly walkways to prevent soil compaction and erosion. Sustainable tourism isn't just a practice. It is a promise to preserve beauty, protect heritage, and empower communities. Once again, I'm Jamie Tanawan, and I hope you learned something from this video.
For our long-term vision for Chocolate Hills, the Chocolate Hills in Bohol are not only a breathtaking natural wonder, but they also hold a potential to becoming a UNESCO Global Geopark. Achieving this means more than just protecting the hills, it's about practicing sustainable tourism. This vision focuses on three key areas. First, we have the environmental protection to ensure the unique landscape remains untouched. Second, we have the cultural heritage, preservation so that Boholonan traditions and stories are passed on. And third, we have the economic empowerment to provide opportunities for local communities. If these goals are met, the Chocolate Hills could serve as a leading example for ecotourism in the Southeast Asia, showing how nature, culture, and development can thrive together. Lastly, for our conclusion, the Chocolate Hills are not just a breathtaking sight. They also hold a symbol of how tourism and sustainability can work hand in hand. To protect them, we need to balance tourism and environmental care, cultural preservation, and community participation. This means using eco-friendly designs, managing waste properly and preparing for disasters, and encouraging responsible visitor practices. By doing this, we don't just preserve the hills. We also support local livelihoods and ensure that the communities benefit. With the right strategies, the Chocolate Hills can remain a lasting symbol of natural wonder and sustainable tourism in the Philippines.